What up, what up, what up? This is Mike, the philosopher, here with another one from Ready to Love. This one is from Christal, all right? And she is interviewing Blake. So let's get some answers. Without further ado, let's just go in.
We're going to go ahead and welcome Blake. Welcome,
Hello,
Blake.
hello.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
I'm good. Well, thank you, first of all, for hanging out on a Monday evening with us, talking about all things Ready to Love. The chat is excited to have you here, and I'm glad that you accepted the offer to come out and hang out with us. So thank you for that.
Definitely.
Well, and you look very nice. I like the little rose. I feel that. I like that.
Thank you. That's my little signature right there. That's my signature.
Okay. I'm not mad at.
Nothing wrong with a little flirting here and there. Christal, I know she married. I know it ain't no disrespect. It's just all in fun. You know, you can compliment somebody without having to, have it be a big deal. But, but anyway, let's go back in.
The signature. All right. Mimi says, hey, Blake. All right. We got Blake in the building. Well, first of all, I want to ask you, Blake, before we get into all the other stuff, what made you sign up for Ready to Love?
So I actually didn't sign up for Ready to Love. I got a call from the producers.
Okay.
And I actually thought it was a crank call. So I hung up and, they called me back and was like, no, this is a real thing. And, they kind of talked to me and I told them, I wasn't really interested. I'm not really a social media person.
Okay.
But after talking with, my friends and, the people in my circle, they said, you know what? You might as well just give it a try. At a minimum, you can check the box and say it's something that you've done. So I decided to be open-minded and I went with it.
How has this experience been, watching yourself, hearing other people talk about, get feedback and feel like they know you from the snippets that they've seen on television? How has this experience been?
So I'm going to be fully transparent. I've only seen episodes 1 and 2, right? I haven't watched any other episodes because once I saw episodes 1 and 2, and I realized it wasn't really depicting me for who I am. And they weren't allowing me to speak. And I recognized that they were trying to create a character. I understood what it was, and it was for entertainment value. It was definitely very interesting to watch people pop up on the internet, say that they knew me or say that they had come across me or that they dated me, right? That part I wasn't really expecting. Don't know these people, have no clue who they are.
Oh, wow.
But I also understand that it comes with the territory, right? So you're going to get love and hate in everything that you do.
Right.
I'm the type of person that I only focus on the positive. So I really don't give the negative too much mind. I really don't watch the blogs, to be honest.
Yeah, see, I don't know if y'all know, but there was a rumor that one of his exes popped up. I wonder if he's going to talk about that. I have not seen this before, so I don't know where this is going to go. Sorry about that. I'm not sure where this is going to go. So I hope he talks about that because it sounds to me so far like he don't know the woman that popped up in his past. So, and yeah, he's right. It comes with the territory. If you're on TV, everybody want to associate with you, and maybe it was a ex that he forgot about. That's possible. I can't tell y'all how many. Never mind. All I'm saying is, it's possible. Okay, there are some exes that you probably forgot about, both men and women. I mean, depending on how many you've had. If I pass some of my exes in the street today, I'll be like, who? But I'm not saying that he forgot about them. They might just be flat out lying, right? So that's something to consider too. So I wonder if he's going to talk more about that. Again, I haven't seen this before. I'm watching it, real time. So let's go back in and see what he say.
Honest with you, everything that I hear is from people that will, in my circle, right? The family members and the friends, always the women who are like, let me tell you what I just saw, right? And I'm like, why are you worried about it? So for me, it was interesting to see, it was a good experience to say, if you look at it from like an experience standpoint of having done the activity, it was fun. You got to meet some really cool people.
Mm-hmm.
But it definitely wasn't something that I look at and I can say, yeah, they did a really good job of, allowing me to be me and allowing people to see who I am.
Okay. Okay. So you just cleared up one of the questions I had for later down the line. So the lady that came out and said you were her ex, you don't know who that woman is.
So I don't even know who that is. I have no clue who that is. I don't know how people, kind of jumped on that and took it. I mean, there was no fact to anything that was said.
Mm-hmm.
The person didn't say who they were. I found it a little, disheartening, but it was very convenient
Yeah.
that it came up at the same time that the Jeffrey thing came up, right? So,
Yeah.
I don't want to speculate, but I'm assuming it was a little energy that came from that where someone wanted to paint a picture that
Yeah.
just wasn't accurate of who I am.
Okay.
Well, so okay, so he clarified that that was not a real person. Question is, see, right now I'm asking myself a question. I've been rocking with Blake, for the season. I've been kind of defending him. I understand his ways. Men understand men better than, some women, and women understand women better than some men. It just is what it is. I have to ask myself a question now. And the question I have to ask myself is Blake a liar? Because, it seemed like everything associated with Jeffrey, he puts in the lie category. Like what she said about him, about him choosing her and her being his one. Is that a lie, or is that real? And then this whole X thing, you know, he's saying it conveniently popped up around the Jeffrey time, which I wouldn't necessarily put. One of them is a liar. Either Jeffrey or Blake is a liar. One of them is a liar. I don't know which one is. Blake tends to come off with more integrity than Jeffrey, just for the record. But he's saying that this ex who popped up was a lie too. That's not a real ex. So the first question I have to ask myself is Blake a liar? Because it would clear up a lot of stuff with this ex, and it would clear up some stuff with Jeffrey, because he's saying both are not true. So my next question is his name Jay? How many details that this person got of him that are true? If his real name is not Jay, or whatever the case may be, and some of the details can be squashed, then I can rock with Blake. But I want to know the detail, because they seem to have some details. The ex seemed to have some details, and they were saying that he was doing some certain stuff, being I don't want to use that word on here, but he was not kind. Well, he was more violent than anything, but they were just saying some things that he was doing that were not good. And they also said, oh, he's this way, he's they put labels on him, narcissistic or whatever, and then said that his real name is Jay. And they have some pretty specific details, about his kids, about how his relationship with his kids was. They said they won't take that away from him. He was a good father. He was a great father. But when it came to the relationship stuff, so I don't know. It's a question of mine that I never really took Blake as a liar, but I'm not saying that he's telling the truth about everything either, and I'm not saying these other ladies are either. Right now it's all gray area for me. So let's hear some more and see if we can clear some of this up. Let's go.
Okay, well let's start there because there's a lot that happened on the show, and I want to say, we watch the show through the edit, right?
Mhm.
And so there's questions that we have, or maybe things trigger us based on what we've seen, which is why I'm always thankful when people come on to kind of straighten it out. And most of the time, people say, "Hey, what you guys saw is not a true depiction of me." Some people say, yeah, that's me.
Right,
But
right,
it's always good for you to be able to come and people to hear it from the horse's mouth. So let's start with the situation with Jeffrey, because that was one of the first red flags for your character, for her to come out and say, hey, he's
right,
been pressuring me not to date anyone else. He's been, basically like, she actually like said low key stalking, like it's very, very uncomfortable. And you
right,
seem very taken aback, from that. And that actually, her making that accusation actually caused friction between her and Sue Ann.
right.
So let's go back to you and Jeffrey, because we never really saw you guys' connection. So what was the connection, if there was one, and where did that conversation come from that she shared?
So, like I said, I try and stay on the positive side. And
Mhm.
what I will say is, by the time Jeffrey made that comment, it was only day two, right? So
Oh,
that's the part that people don't understand. They make it seem like a lot of time has passed. It was day two. And my connection, another connection that I had that was as strong as Cynthia that they didn't, I'm sorry, that was as strong as Suanne that they didn't show, was
okay.
Cynthia. If you look at like the boat episodes and stuff, you'll see I had two bags, right? I was
Mhm.
courting both women at the same time. When
Wow.
Cynthia approached me to have the conversation, I was actually sitting with Jeffrey
Mhm.
on day two, and we had to talk. And Jeffrey came behind me and she scratched me down my back. So
Mhm.
I turned and I asked if she wanted to join the conversation.
Okay.
And she said no, she didn't. And I think Cynthia made a comment, when she said she was going to walk around. And after that happened and we, started to wrap up, I pulled her to the side and I was like, look, you put me in a situation. It was a little uncomfortable for me. We're here to get to know people. And, she was like, you can't tell me how to feel, which I respected. I
Mhm.
said, okay. For me, it was just like, all right, well, this won't be the direction that I go. And
Mhm.
then the next day, I get this, information about her being in a women's lounge, giving all this information saying that I said these things that
Mhm.
weren't true at all. So, I don't know what the motivation was. I think that things played out, well enough that everyone can kind of assume that, it wasn't said. I did make an attempt to talk to her to clear the air, but,
Mhm.
she didn't want to have that conversation either. So I really can't speculate why she did what she did. Maybe I offended her. Maybe I rubbed her the wrong way. I don't know.
Wow. That is wild.
Yes, that is wild. Oh my goodness, the math really ain't mathing. Okay, he make it seem like she was trying to corner him. Okay, and she make it seem like he was trying to corner her. Like I said, somebody is lying. I don't know who. I'm trying to even think of a scenario where it could be both. Um, I do know that Jeffrey takes me as a person who wants a a sort of a connection with everybody. She want to buy stock in every guy. Okay. Um, I don't take Blake as that type of person who will because to me Blake is more of a calculated guy. He's more um, I think he used to be an interrogator or investigator. He was in security or something like that. Used to asking people certain types of questions, trying to get the information he need out of them, so that he can make rational decisions. Okay, I don't think that Blake is just going to rock with any woman. I think that he was generally attracted to her. I think she was attracted to him. Um, but who was the aggressor is a gray area for me. Um, I will probably say this, and I could be wrong. I think that Jeffrey was the first one who was insecure because she wanted to buy stock in every guy that she likes, right? So she was insecure because he was talking to Cynthia. So, and but Blake is the types to be like, look, okay, if this is where we are, this is where we are, okay, and he tried to buy stock in Jeffrey, so to speak, as far as saying, look, if you really want to do this, then let's do this. This is a show where we're supposed to get to know everybody. You can't be insecure because I'm trying to get to know everybody. I know you like me, I like you, but but I just feel like she here's where I think that Blake misread Jeffrey's intentions. This is what I think. I think Blake misread Jeffrey's intentions. Jeffrey's intentions was to buy stock in everybody. Blake thought Jeffrey's intentions was to buy stock only in him. Okay? And by doing that, when he thought, oh, she's only interested in me, then I'm going to reciprocate that. And she's like, wait, nah, I don't want to do it like that. I was just trying to get your attention. Because if you're that guy, especially day one, day two, if you're the guy, the main guy, or some would call the cute guy or the handsome guy or whatever, if you're that guy, then I want you to pay attention to me because I want to be the popular girl. That's how Jeffrey takes me at. I told y'all in other episodes, she wants to be that girl on the show. She wants to be the popular girl that get all the guys' attention. This is why she buys stock in all the guys. Okay, so they can all fall to her feet. Okay, but I think Blake misread it as she only wanted his attention, or she only wanted him to pay attention to her. And I think that's where the disconnect happened, because he started moving like, look, we can do this. I'm feeling you too. If you're feeling me like that and you want me to rock only with you, we can do this. Because I don't want to do all of this. I just want to get my woman who's down with me and ride into the sunset. That's the guy that Blake take me as. I just want to get my woman, whoever is I feel is level-headed enough to rock with me and ride into the sunset. But he did not know how Jeffrey moved. I understood later in the season how Jeffrey moved, and it makes sense to me now. But I think there was some misreading of intentions and maybe a little lying, maybe a little bit on both sides. I'm not even against thinking that. I think maybe both of them may be exaggerating a little bit, but I just think that it's just been a hot mess, but it's been a lot of misreading from what I can see. Anyway, let's go back in.
Who did your eye gravitate to initially? Just from not energy, just physical attraction. He looks so uncomfortable.
So I think that when I started the process, I was trusting that production and the concept of the show was going to choose people for me that I probably would not have selected for myself.
Okay.
So I came in this being open-minded to say, okay, well, let me open my mind and look at things from a lens that I probably wouldn't look at, if I was out somewhere and I came across someone or something like that. So I can't really answer that question for you because that wasn't, the way I came into the mixer.
Okay, Blake, that was good. That was very good. I am a publicist by nature, and that was a very good answer.
I mean, look.
Yeah, that was very that was a very political answer. Day one, I don't know the guy. I don't know. It seemed like he was more interested in, Jeffrey at first, and then he got interested in Cynthia when she came on the show. I think his attraction to Sue Ann was a mental and psychological connection that grew throughout the season, and he found himself even more attracted to Sue Ann than the other ladies because of the reciprocity, the energy he was getting from Sue Ann. Okay, he was seeing that from her, and he probably wasn't initially attracted to her like that, but it grew, and that can happen. That can happen. You could see somebody who's not maybe your physical type right away, but then you talk to them, and maybe they make you laugh. Maybe they have same ideologies as you, and you find yourself having more fun with them. You even become more physically attracted to them. You be like, oh, okay, she do got a nice ass back there. You start seeing things that you didn't see initially, if that makes sense. I know y'all know what I'm talking about, because probably everybody has done that, where you met somebody and then it wasn't like initially you was like, and then they grew on you, and then it was like, oh, okay. And you know what? She do got a beautiful smile, Sue Ann. Okay, yeah, I can see myself with her. I can rock with this. Even though there's other women that probably grabbed your attention first. So yeah, that stuff happens. Anyway, let's go in.
Yeah. So let's talk about the Morgan situation. I'm gonna say, I interview castmates every week,
Mhm.
and that episode where you guys had that conversation, went and sat down, and she basically said you were like a cancer. It was really shocking. I think people were really taken aback. Like, where would that type of vitriol come from for someone that hasn't done anything necessarily to you? So were you shocked at that interaction? Because it seemed like you weren't ready for it, but it also seemed like you handled it well and immediately like got out of the situation. Like, okay, well, we don't have to keep doing this. But were you shocked? Did you know that she had that type of energy towards you? Where did that come from?
So yes, I was shocked that she had that type of energy towards me, but I was not shocked that she had that type of energy. I think that, so if you've been following the story and you've been following like the real life for Jeffrey and Morgan, they're actually really, really close. They become best friends.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a part of it was her trying to ride for her friend, probably based off the way that I made her feel, because she and I had never had an interaction,
right,
other than the initial interaction, which I think she may have taken offense to, which is what I tried to sit down and have the conversation with her over.
Mm-hmm.
And that was over day one. I was, we're there, we're mingling, right? So we're trying to figure out who aligns with us, who doesn't, what's an option, what's not an option.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to her just about the having kids thing, because she said having kids for her was a definite. She said she would not date a man that was not going to give her a kid. She said she wouldn't fall in love with the man. I'm sorry, correction.
Right.
She would not fall in love with the man that wasn't going to give her a kid, which, I respect, right? Everybody is entitled to what it is that she wants, but I'm still trying to figure out who you are.
Right.
So I proceeded to ask her, do you have a point in your life or an age in your life, perhaps, where if it doesn't happen, that you would be open to, having a life without kids?
Mm-hmm.
She said no. So I said, okay, well, I just want to make sure that I'm understanding you. I said, God forbid you turn 50 and you don't have kids. Are you saying that you would only date a man that's going to give you a child?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess she took offense to that. And, it was an issue. So when I sat down with her, I tried to apologize for, how I made her feel.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she said, well, how can you apologize if you don't know what you did? And I tried to explain, right, that nothing I did was intended to give her the feeling that she was feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But if she could let me know which part she took offense to, then I could apologize. But I don't think she really heard any of that. I think she was already locked, cocked, and ready to rock. I think she knew what she wanted to say.
Mm-hmm.
She was just waiting for that window, because
she knew what she wanted to say. Here's what I think, and I'm gonna let Blake finish up. But here's what I think. I think Morgan really, I think like I said, she's the queen of the sisterhood. Okay, if y'all don't know what the sisterhood, go check that out. It's really just feminist women who, move differently than elegant, beautiful, intelligent, inspirational, cooperative women. Okay, they're in a different camp. They're in the feminist camp, the sisterhood. What I think Morgan did was went back to whoever is in her background, talked to her girls, and they told her, you go cuss him out. You go tell him off. She already had in her mind what she was going to say when she got to that meeting with Blake. She already knew. It wasn't to reconcile. It wasn't to get an understanding. It wasn't for none of that. It was simply for making a scene, okay? A scene that was good for TV. Yeah, girl, you go back and you tell him this. Now, I don't think they said to say the cancer thing because he actually brought up cancer. But I think that she took it and she, flipped it on him and got her TV moment, okay, with the whole cancer thing. But she wasn't there for no apologies. She wasn't there for no, understanding or none of that. She wanted a TV scene. This is why I think that Morgan is really there for TV. I don't think she's serious about any of the guys there. I wouldn't be surprised if she did not choose Tony after all this time, okay? And when she get to the finale, I would not be surprised if she do not check. Now, by the time this air, it'll be Friday. You might watch it, and she does choose Tony, okay? But I don't think she's going to choose Tony. But if she does, she does. But all that she does is for her own self-serving. All that she does is for attention. Okay, I think she does a lot of stuff for attention. She does that in relationships. She does that with everybody she meets. She loves attention. And why not? This guy ain't feeling me. He don't want no kids. Why? Instead of trying to get an understanding, let me at least get a nice TV scene out of this. You know what? I wouldn't even be surprised if the producers may have put her up to it. I'm just saying. I'm not saying they did, but I'm not saying they didn't. Okay? I think somebody helped her come to the conclusion of making this a good TV scene, whether it be her girlfriends or the producers, or it could have just been her. Who knows? But the point was, we're not going to try to get no understanding out of this. We're not going to try to get, we're not going to try to reconcile. We're not going to try to, no, we're going to make this a ratings show. We're going to try to get as many ratings as we possibly can out of that. That's why I don't put it past producers. I'm not saying it was the producers, but you know what I'm saying. Anyway, let's go back in. Let him finish up.
It was a really decent conversation before she decided to just go all the way left.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, because it's easy to say that. I get what you're saying. And I think one of your cast.
Let me say this too. If I was on the show, I would probably be in the same situation as Blake. I think production will chop up a lot of what I say. There will be misunderstandings. There will be, talking points to try to curve and try to tell a story. Because I can come off a bit direct like Blake can. And I can come off a bit, I guess you could say regimented, So the fact that they did that doesn't surprise me. It kind of tells me how I would probably be treated if I was on the show. And they do have creative rights. They do got a show. They got a story to tell, and it kind of confirms my idea that they do. They're not above going for the negative spin, so to speak. They're not above making people look a certain type of way or make people look bad. So drama is welcomed at RTL, not just RTL, but other shows too. A lot of drama is welcome. And, look, they're in the TV business. They got to get those ratings up. And let's face it, if people wouldn't consume it, then they wouldn't do it. But people consume it. They love that stuff. They love the whole, Jeffrey drama and the whole Morgan drama. They love that stuff. Why do you think they kept Blake on for so long? I was told that, he threatened to leave earlier, and they didn't want him to leave yet. They didn't sop up all the gravy with the biscuit. They wanted some more drama out of him. He left a couple episodes later, but still, it was like, drama is welcome, and that is very obvious in these shows now. So everybody take everything with a grain of salt, man, because they're painting people how they want them to paint them. Now, some might say, they can't make you look no certain type of way. They can't copy and edit stuff if you don't say it, and that's true. You have to say it, but at the same time, there's a lot of magic that can be done in editing. Okay, there's a lot of things that can happen in editing to give people the wrong impression. Now, he was saying we were talking about being a single parent. We wasn't talking about, and they flipped the conversation. They cut out that single parent paragraph, and they just made it seem like we were just talking about kids. So the context was not honest. It wasn't the right context, but they got creative rights. They're going to do whatever they want to do. But yeah, I have a feeling if I was on the show, I'd be chopped and screwed. Be on my T-Pain. Anyway, let's go in.
That's why I wanted to ask you, because I think for me, if you were to ask me, Christal, how could I reword it? I would say, because obviously your children were in a single parent, we're in a broken family, right? Because you got divorced. And I think sometimes if we're able to show people, this is one of the things that I've seen that's happened with my family. And although
before she say that, let me say this. I think one of my pet peeves, and I'm kind of getting tired of this. I don't understand. And look, put it in the comments if you think I'm wrong or not. I don't think I'm wrong. But it seems to me the only people on this planet that get told to talk different is black men. You need to say this different. You need to say that different. Don't nobody tell black women what to say. Black women say whatever the hell they want to say. Don't nobody tell other nationalities or people what to say. The only people on this planet that get told you shouldn't say this, you shouldn't say that is black men. Why is that? Please give me the answer to that. Put it in the comments. Why is it that we are the only group of people that get parented on how to talk, as if we don't know what we really want? Blake knows what he wants. This is a bit of a hot topic to me, if you can tell, because I've been told, oh, you say this, you say that, you should say it this way. You should say it that way. I get so tired of that. I ain't gonna even front. I get very tired of that, because I don't sit up here telling people how to talk. Everybody talk with however they feel, and they have very little repercussions about how they talk, and it's not unapologetic about how they talk. But when it comes to black men, it's as if we can't express ourselves, as if we can't say what's on our mind and be honest. It bothers me. It bothers me. Ladies, please stop telling black men how to talk. Okay, we know how to talk. We know what we're saying. We know. Now look, does it hurt feelings? Yeah, maybe it hurt feelings sometimes, but there's a lot of things that people say to us that get to us too and hurt our feelings. No F's are given. Okay? No F's are given. Do we sit up here and say, oh, black woman, you should talk to us like this? I haven't heard many men, or if any men, say that to black women. Y'all should talk to. I mean, if I'm being honest, they probably feel that way, but you don't see that a lot. The only group that try to get edited on how to talk is black men. Now, I know it coming from us, it burns a little bit more. I get that. But ladies, you're gonna have to take honesty from black men. I talked about this in a previous episode. Y'all gonna have to start learning how to take honesty from us. And stop trying to, and you know what it feels like? It feels like we're trying to be mothered. You ain't supposed to say this. You ain't supposed to say that. You might as well say, I ain't teach you to say this. I ain't teach you to say that. We don't have a right to say what's on our mind. We supposed to edit everything that we say to y'all, and y'all get to say whatever y'all want to say. How is that fair? That's not fair. That's not right. It gets under my skin. If you don't know, I'm a very cool, calm, collective guy. I'm real fun to be with, easygoing. You can have a blast with me. You can ask anybody. Okay? I'm really not a high-strung, tense guy. But there are some things that really kind of get to me. Because in a way, it's disrespectful. Like that's disrespectful. Telling me, trying to edit how I talk or trying to edit what I say and all this other stuff. Like, that's for the birds. I'm a grown ass man. Okay. I know what I'm saying and I mean what I say. Now, I know it's not going to, sometimes it's going to burn, but the same honesty I give, you give to me too. And I'm okay with that. But don't try to edit how I talk. Because if you start doing that, you're trying to sun me. And I don't like anybody trying to sun me. Okay, my parents don't even do that. My parents don't even correct what I say. So, and they're the only ones that can sun me. So please, ladies, stop telling your men, you shouldn't say it like this. You shouldn't say it like that. Don't do that to black men. We are so fed up with that. It's ridiculous. I'm off my soapbox. Let's go.
Before we move on to Suan, I want to second what Congo English said. I like Cynthia.
We're trying to avoid it.
This entire season. However, her baby's father, I hate the term baby's father, but her children's father.
The father of her children.
The father of her children was out of pocket.
Right.
Out of pocket, at least on the show. Now, I don't know if he was, prepped by production to do a little extra or what exactly happened. I don't know. You haven't seen a lot of the show. Did you hear about how that went down? Because it was extremely uncomfortable and it didn't come off well.
Even though I said I haven't watched the show, I've lived it and I've experienced it, right? So I know all of the things that have transpired and what has gone.
And my question is, real quick, with the whole Cynthia and her baby daddy and stuff, if Blake and Cynthia was a connection, why wasn't he there? She only had Dre and Anthony there. Maybe it would have been nice if Blake was there too, so it could kind of solidify Blake's, story that they had a connection because to meet the family and to meet them I'm wondering if Blake felt differently about Cynthia than Cynthia felt about Blake. I didn't really see any energy that Cynthia was giving Blake at practically any time. So again, that could be production, that could be how they, edited the show and just cut out all of the Cynthia Blake stuff. But even at the critical moments of meeting each other's family, I did not see Blake meeting Cynthia's family. I did not see Cynthia meeting Blake's, family, so to speak. I think it was only Sue Ann, really, wasn't it? I don't remember Cynthia being there. So it's like if it was a real, maybe they claimed that it wasn't real, so they just didn't cover it, and that could be kind of accurate. It probably just wasn't real. It was something, but it was nothing at the same time. So, if y'all not gonna meet each other's family, then how real can it be? You know what I mean? Anyway, let's go back in.
Right. Well, I have to ask you this because I really, although I haven't, I don't stand for some of the behavior. I don't condone some of the behavior that has happened. And I usually don't say anything. I usually let the guests talk. But I have to mention this because I thought it was such a horrible example of manhood. And I do think we have to be honest about something like that. Seeing the way Tony and Lyndon kind of used Morgan as a opportunity to show who was the toughest, and the man, like making the wager back and forth. Oh, well, okay. If Marcia was here, you could have had her. And then right. How do you feel when you watch me kiss her? That was really, really low. And I feel like it was distasteful to show that. And then even all the way through to the last men's lounge, where we saw Tony acknowledge that he had been intimate with another cast member that had already been home. Right. I just, I have to ask you, as a man who has done a great job this season of holding himself, in high regard and being respectful, what was your thought process on, did you see that interaction?
I did.
And how did you feel at that moment? Because that was...
Let me answer that question. That's a good question, Christal. But what you have to understand, I don't know what Blake is going to say. I'm going to let him talk after this. But here's the deal. You have to understand the male ego, okay? I'm not saying it was tasteful. I'm not saying it was something good, but oftentimes men try to determine who the alpha is in the room, and they both was not ready. This is something that is primal, okay? This is a primal instinct among men. They try to determine who the alpha is. Now, if Morgan is the catch, if she's the best female in the group, the guys gotta, you see this in the animal kingdom, they gotta move some furniture to figure out who's gonna mate with this female. You see rams, they ram heads together, bam, you know what I mean? You see bears and lions fighting, and chimps, and all, you see all the whole animal kingdom. This is instinct. This is not. Now look, some might say, well, look, we are human beings, we should have more class than that. I get that, but I I had an argument with somebody recently that, look, we're not going to just get over our primal instincts. We just not. We are just not. We're still in the animal kingdom. I know some people might not believe that, like humans are better than every other animal. I get that, but we're not going to get over our primal instincts. Just because we're human beings don't mean we still don't have primal instincts. Don't mean that we don't need to know who the flyest woman is or the alpha male is, you know? And let's be real. The women were trying to position themselves as being the main woman. I seen that out of Jeffrey. I seen that out of Morgan. You know, I seen those women trying to put themselves out as being the best female. Even Cynthia touched on it a little bit, okay? Like a rock to a diamond, okay? It's competition. It kind of should be a little expected. I mean, you've probably seen this in every season of RTL. There's always going to be some guy who's going to be, you know, trying to claim the stake of alpha male, and there's always going to be some woman who wants to be that chick on the show that has all the options. Jeffrey wanted to be that chick. Morgan wanted to be that chick. And they're complicit. You know what I mean? They're like Tony said, he think Morgan enjoyed that part of it. And she probably did. I think she did. She enjoyed having guys fighting over her because she want to be that chick. And Tony and Lyndon, they want to be that dude. So it's primal. It's primal instincts. You know, should we be above that? I don't think we're ever gonna be above that as long as we human beings. Okay, we're gonna have to be some kind of cyborgs or something to get over that, to get over the primal instincts. But as long as we ain't got no chip in our brain to turn that primal stuff off, we're gonna be human beings. Okay, you probably should expect it at this point. Anyway, let's go on. Let's see what Blake say about that.
Really a lot for us to watch.
I did. So there's a couple of things there for me. I feel like Morgan was wrong. I feel like Morgan could have shut the situation down real early once the first comment was made from Tony to Lyndon. But I think that, you know, for whatever reason she didn't. I don't want to speculate why she did. She didn't shut it down and she allowed it to go. You know, Tony, no beef with Tony. Tony is Tony. You know, he moves how he moves. He's a particular type of guy, right? Lyndon is a particular type of guy. And they're two totally different types of guys. People like what they like. Morgan likes the high energy, firecracker, outspokenness that Tony is. Lyndon literally is like the coolest dude you will ever meet. When I tell you Lyndon is funny, he's laid back, but he's that nice guy that we always talk about that gets overlooked, you know, because he's a nice guy. And within the cast, you know, when we talk about like tops and bottoms, number ones and number twos, like all of the cast, you know, we know who each other's people are, right? So for my square, it was me, Anthony, Cynthia, and Suanne. Anthony and Suanne had just as much of a connection as Cynthia and I had, and it was just kind of the four of us. We all know it, like we all move accordingly, and we're all respectful of each other, you know, while we're dating. I just think that for Tony, I think for who he is, it probably was a lot that Morgan would even consider someone else. And I think for Lyndon, it was a lot that Lyndon was trying to let Tony have it, and Tony wouldn't just let it be. So, you know, I hate to say it, but I don't know. I don't personally fault Lyndon because Lyndon just had a conversation and he just brought up something that was. I didn't find it as a violation or any of those things because he let so much ride before he decided to just say, this is what it is, right? There's one thing to be a man and to have patience and to demonstrate grace, but there's something else when someone is overstepping boundaries. For me, Lyndon was just addressing a boundary that was overstepped. Some people need energy, right? They bond over these types of situations, right? I mean, we all know people. We have people in our families who, it's crazy, but they've been through the most stuff, right? They probably stabbed each other, cut each other up, right? Threw each other stuff out, and they've been together for 45 years,
Right.
right? Whereas your girlfriend or the other person likes somebody's picture on social media and the relationship is over.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and that is true. I was kind of saying that in another recording I did, that Tony and Morgan, they like to push and pull. They like the tug of war game. Okay. And they're always trying to get one up on each other. And some people would just call it toxic. It's a toxic relationship because it doesn't always, the energy isn't always positive energy. Just long as this energy seems to do the trick. It could even be negative energy. It could be mostly negative energy. And Blake is right. They'll still be together 45 years later doing the same stuff because they're used to that toxicity, because that energy is what they keep feeding off of. And it's, to others who are normal, be like, you want that energy? You want to get stabbed by each other? You want to get shot by each other and all this other stuff? You want to keep cheating on each other and like all this other stuff? You want to keep doing that stuff and you're still together. And let's be real. Sometimes people who are in relationships like that really can't find nobody else to to put up with their level of toxicity. So they're toxic to everybody else. So they don't got no choice but to stick with this person, because this person is used to the toxicity. They used to it. Okay, they the only ones who can, kind of predict how ridiculous their partner is going to be. Oh yeah, yes, that's Morgan. She put an air in my hair. It came all out. I should have talked to her more. And some guys would still be with Morgan because of that. Oh, that's Morgan. She stabbed my tires. I got flats on all four of my tires. Yeah, that's my baby. They're used to that toxicity, and then they go out and maybe cheat on Morgan, or take some of her money or something like that, and it'd be a back and forth. And I said in the previous recording, Tony is that tug of war. He is that tug of war guy. He's going to participate in the tug of war with Morgan, and he's going to give her that level of toxicity. He's already doing it, by even really telling her about the Natasha thing. If y'all think it's only going to be Natasha, you're so wrong. This guy is going to see other women. Morgan is going to get mad, and who knows what's going to happen next. This relationship is going to forever be toxic because they're both. I said in another recording, Tony loved broken women. Okay, and there is no woman more broke than Morgan on this show. There's no woman that's more broken than Morgan on this season of Ready to Love. And he loved that. So what does that say about Tony? That means Tony is broken. Tony is a broken man. If you find yourself attracted and love broken women, then you're a broken man yourself. I agree with Blake. Tony is going to be Tony. He's he's one of those type of guys. He is led by ego. Everything this guy does involves his ego. Whether it's talking to women because he want to be smooth with the ego, whether it's squaring up on dudes with the ego, whether it's getting in beefs with like the nicest guy on the show, he said was Lyndon, getting in beefs with guys. Ego, everything is ego with this dude. I normally don't rock with dudes like that because we liable to have beef at some point. And it's just it just is what it is. But they deserve each other. They're gonna be toxic together, and their toxicity is probably at a level that don't nobody else even really want. So let them have each other. Anyway, let's go back in.
Moving forward with dating, is there anything that you will do differently based on this experience and witnessing, like you just said, all that going on that you don't always have a bird's eye view to?
I think that I trust. I think I trust, my approach.
Mm-hmm.
I think I trust, everything based off of, like the Morgans and the Jeffries and stuff like that, right? At this stage of my life, I try to do my best to choose and not be chosen. And I think that's what I've learned, into my 40s. I did a lot of allowing people to choose me or telling people what I wanted. And then that person would act out, who it is. So that's why I come across, a little bit more reserved, because I don't want to tell you what it is that I'm looking for. I want to know who it is that you are. Right. And then we can kind of go from there. So I think that's the biggest piece for me. That's the biggest piece.
And that is probably a stage that my boy Anthony is in right now. He's probably not being a chooser. He's probably used to being chosen. So shout out to Anthony, but I think that he could probably take that page in Blake's book on being more of a chooser, because it seemed like he was waiting on the ladies to choose him. And between Sue Ann, Cynthia, and Mercedes, they were waiting for you to choose them, but you never really went after any one of them directly. You showed interest in all of them, but you didn't go after anyone directly. And that's something that probably even Blake started this process as doing. Same thing with Anthony. I mean, they had pretty much similar connections with Sue Ann and Cynthia. So, but they were not choosing women. Like, honestly, I feel like Sue Ann chose Blake. I know there are a lot of people who would agree with that. It's almost as if Sue Ann chose Blake. Blake solidified it and said, yes, I'm rocking with you. But I think Sue Ann chose him, and Cynthia chose. I think she's still choosing Andre, but Andre is occupied with Jeffrey. And I think Mercedes chose Mark Anthony. As soon as he stepped on the scene, it was a wrap for Mercedes. But I don't think Anthony chose anybody. So that's why I think that he could probably take that same page from Blake as far as being more aggressive and being more of a chooser, because he said being next to other guys, he kind of seen how other guys was moving. That was a bit eye-opening for him. So he wants to, I think he learned that and said, look, I see how these other guys moving real aggressive. You got them practically ready to fight over the dinner table for Morgan. And these guys is moving with some purpose. The only two guys was I take that back. Blue wasn't moving with any purpose. Anthony wasn't moving with much purpose. Blake was moving with awareness. I wouldn't say with a lot of purpose, but with awareness. Lyndon was moving with purpose. So was Tony. Who who else? Mark Anthony. He wasn't even really moving with purpose. So a lot of the guys wasn't really moving with a lot of purpose, which disappoint the women. And I get that. You want guys who gonna, go after you. Marcia said, a lot of these guys was being picked and being chosen, and that was sad to her. She was like, the women are going after the guys. And I could see that. But I think in the future, Blake is going to move with a little bit more purpose, a little bit more intention. And I think that's the biggest lesson he learned from that. And I can see that. And I hope that all the guys start doing that, because, we want to be the choosers. We are the choosers. Okay. And we want to keep that role as being the choosers. So there you have it with Blake. Yeah, I thought a good interview. Hit the like, share, and subscribe. All right, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.
Any lesson that you would take, or thing that you learned about yourself in this process?
Not from the woman's standpoint necessarily, but definitely from a dating standpoint of, having conversations with women about dating.
Mm-hmm.
And as a man, you never get to see the man to the left or to the right of you that's dating the same woman or interested in the same woman. So this was very eye-opening, for me. And, I have so many questions, right? So many conversations to be had over, all of these scenarios and the things that happen. But yeah, that was definitely eye-opening.